Before I start breaking down the supposed advantages of smoking, I want to briefly mention that smoking has no real benefits. Take a look at your notes and what you wrote at the beginning, and let's go through one by one the things you consider to be advantages. It helps me concentrate. This is one of the most common answers smokers give when I ask them how smoking helps them. The truth is, though, that smoking not only doesn't help with concentration, but actually distracts us from what we're trying to focus on. Just a few minutes after we put out the cigarette, withdrawal symptoms start and we begin thinking about when we'll have the next one. Imagine that every time you put out your cigarette, your mind starts wandering again towards the next dose of nicotine. Instead of focusing on your work or your studies, you find yourself thinking about when you'll be able to take your next break to smoke. This constant cycle of distraction not only reduces your overall productivity, but also increases your stress. Moreover, there's a tendency to smoke even more when we try to concentrate, making the problem even worse. Your deceived subconscious remembers the moment of relief from withdrawal symptoms as a moment of focus and calm. This is the only moment when a smoker's sense of calm comes close to the calm you feel when you've never smoked a cigarette. In reality, the cigarette creates a vicious cycle where each relief is temporary and is followed by new withdrawal symptoms, constantly distracting you from your activities. Non-smokers never experience all these external struggles that a smoker goes through. It helps me relax. The biggest advantages in the eyes of smokers are the pleasure of having a cigarette at work, a cigarette after a meal, and the first morning cigarette with coffee. These are some of the cigarettes that offer the greatest pleasure in the eyes of smokers. However, they don't realize that non-smokers, during a meal, satisfy their hunger and thirst, so they feel relaxed, content, and enjoy their food. On the contrary, smokers, instead of enjoying their food, eat quickly so that when they finish, they can enjoy a cigarette. Why? Because enough time has passed and the symptoms of nicotine withdrawal have started to affect their body. So they don't enjoy their food, which is their basic need. They impatiently wait for the moment when they can simply satisfy the nicotine craving that has grown inside them, and they call this relaxation. Notice that the cigarettes which relax us are the ones where, before we smoke them, we feel the craving most intensely. It helps me when I'm bored. How many times have we heard that smoking helps make boredom more bearable and reduces monotony? But the explanation is that when we're bored, we don't have anything to think about or do, and as a result, the craving for a cigarette comes to mind and takes center stage. So we light up our cigarette, we reduce that craving that has appeared, and we think it helps us overcome boredom. The reality is that the cigarette not only doesn't reduce boredom, but actually increases it, because the more a smoker smokes, the more lethargic they start to feel and the more they limit their activities. It reduces stress. Stress can be caused by work and deadlines, our social interactions, time pressure for certain activities, and generally many other reasons that we are subjected to on a daily basis. It's common in such moments for a smoker to light a cigarette or cigarettes. As we explained earlier, the smoker's subconscious has been tricked by nicotine. The discomfort from nicotine withdrawal adds to the real stress that the smoker experiences in their daily life. So, by smoking a cigarette, the smoker reduces the extra stress they feel due to withdrawal. However, they believe that this also reduces their own stress. It should be emphasized, however, that a non-smoker would never feel the extra stress that a smoker experiences from the lack of a cigarette. I wouldn't want to dwell on this point since smokers almost every waking hour feel insecure about whether they'll have enough cigarettes wherever they're going, whether they'll be able to smoke where they are, whether they'll have time to smoke, or if they'll have to endure the discomfort of nicotine withdrawal because they didn't manage to smoke in time. They also worry that someone close to them might see them smoking, which they wouldn't want. The truth is that real self-confidence comes when you are a non-smoker, since you don't have to deal with these kinds of issues caused by cigarette addiction. Think about this. Non-smokers live their lives with confidence all day long, without worrying about where and when they'll smoke. Their only worries are the everyday stresses we all have, not the extra anxieties that come from missing a cigarette. The confidence you feel as a non-smoker comes from the freedom to live without the restrictions and worries that nicotine imposes on you. You don't have to worry about whether you have enough cigarettes or if you'll bother those around you with your smoke. This sense of freedom and independence is truly what fills someone with confidence. The smoker lives with constant worry and dependence on nicotine, which daily undermines their confidence and keeps them trapped in a vicious cycle of insecurity and anxiety. That's yet another reason why you don't want to be a smoker.